here's performance for breed 3, let's just say higher is better. When you make that first cross, typically there's an advantage to that first cross in that it's higher than the average of the two purebreds. That's what heterosis is. Okay? You guys have done this. When you cross two sheep, that's what you get. The theory of that is that here's the purebred average, here's the average of breeds A and B, and the advantage of the first cross over the average of A and B is what we call heterosis. Okay, when you make a composite, which is what we're doing here, in the case of a two-breed composite, now I didn't want to do a two-breed, in the case of a two-breed composite, we know that what happens is that it falls halfway down. So you lose half of the heterosis that you had in the first cross, and you retain half of it. In our three-breed composite that we have here, a half, a quarter, we're going to retain 62.5% of that, and we'll lose 37.5%. And we've done
You're still way better than it would work.
It's better. You're still maintaining it. It's that trade-off between bringing in desirable characteristics of the cotton, and is that enough to offset some of these other things? So it's a balance between what's the average of the breeds that you have and how much of that heterosis can you maintain. So this theory has been documented in experiments in all of our species, and we know that's how it works.
And that system is, we know that the F1 cross is better than the composite, but in Romanoff, that F1 cross is so difficult to make.
There's two problems with that, yeah.
Either one extreme or the other. And we all mentioned.
Well, I've seen them rolling off. It's not that hard.
Yeah, you ask these guys, you ask Wayne, you don't want to do it.
They're easy to make.
They're easy to make. They're not that hard to make.
They're just the high input.
Yeah.
Pointed at the screen.
Huh?
It pointed at the screen.
Thank you. I'll show this because this experiment we did is because of Ron. You probably don't remember this. Well, a number of years ago when we were looking at Romanoffs and Ron was interested in Romanoffs, he asked me that question. Does it make any difference if we make that F1 cross using a Romanoff dam or a Romanoff ram? Okay, it's a good practical question. So we took two breeds that differed in reproductive rate by a bunch. We put Rambouillet rams under Romanoff ewes and Romanoff ram under Rambouillet ewes. Okay? The offspring are genetically the same. They're half Rambouillet, they're half Romanoff. But these, with the lambs born to Romanoff ewes, basically are born in litters of 4, and the lambs born to Rambouillet dams are born as twins. Okay? So they're genetically equivalent, but their prenatal environment is different, and they might be postnatally reared differently too. So the question was, if you produce a bunch of these sheep, and you keep these back as ewes and evaluate them, are they equivalent in terms of production as ewes or not? So, Ron, here's the outcome of that experiment. We produced a couple hundred ewes of each of those two types, evaluated them through 4 parities, and there was a slight advantage for that F1 ewe that was born to a Romanoff dam compared to an F1 ewe that was born to a Rambouillet dam in each of those 4 years, 4 parities, but it wasn't very big. But to me, the bottom line out of that is that producers could do this any way they want. If they want to deal with Romanoff ewes and big litters, they can, or they can go the other way with it.
The only thing is, if you try to increase numbers, it needs to be out of the Romanoff ewe. Because you don't get enough lambs.
Yeah, you can't get them.
Here's the other problem with that one, Rob. I'm taking way too much time. But one of the problems with producing an F1 is that there's nothing in that F1 that isn't in these 2 breeds down here. And unless these 2 breeds, unless you got seed stock producers down here that are selecting for the right things to make a better F1, you're out of luck.
Yeah,
You're not going to make improvement over time. These 2 breeds ought to be selected not for how they perform as purebreds, but how their crossbred progeny perform. And they don't do that.
Oh, I swear somebody put some Colombian in some of the Dorsets that they were using.
That's right. That's a possibility. Okay, I appreciate your interest, but I better sit down and, thank you very much.
We're gonna change out computers there real quick.
Do you see any disadvantage to accelerating the saturation use?
Is there any disadvantage to it?
It's all about feed, isn't it? There's not enough feed there for them. Well, I could land in September on wheat pasture. Just as easy as we could land or maybe better than it would be in May, but
Fall's dang good.
yeah, well, we like fall because you got less multiples and better weather.
Yeah.
But then you're gonna have an acceleration, you have one winter lambing no loss that you'll have to do in the farm.
How many times a year you go to land?
It's twice a year.
6 months?
Well,
Three crops a year.
You go land 4 times a year.
no,
Excuse me, 3 times, yeah, 3 times a year.
you could do those on pasture, fall and spring.
Yeah, you can, I would think that would work.
You can do one in
You
the
could, yeah.
Hey, if you got that good of a mixture, I see no reason.
I don't know if anyone was trying to accelerate land with that. Accelerate the enrollment off here.
Oh, well, we're solving it.
Okay, I'm saying experimentally doing that.
Oh, yeah.
But my take is they would probably do, I mean, I would expect them to do better than other crops.
Because of their out of
Because
season.
they'll breed out of season.
Out of season.
I would think you could land those, chew all those 3 seasons on finish.
It'd be no different than doing it in the lot.
You just gotta get them weaned in time to.
Man, you're weaning at 8 weeks anyway, right?
I did here at 12, that's why they're arbitrary.
But see, you can still wean at 12
That's
weeks.
just about right.
You can still wean at 12
We
weeks.
could do it at 10 weeks.
Even if you land and couple them on pasture 2 or 3 weeks, and then you have to start feeding them.
Yeah.
Probably would do it.
You know, we're always breeding ewes in December with lambs still on them anyway, but you can't breed in April with lambs on them as good, we know that. I'd like to see that with the Roman off cross, to see how many you get bred with lambs still on them in April, right? Try
Is
that.
April lambing better or worse than that? Better?
As far
I think it's a
as,
little bit better, I mean,
is getting more use bred, you
Get
mean?
more use bred then?
Because it's less out in estrus, not April, or May.
In their overall process, we didn't find any difference in fertility rates between March and May breeding. So I would expect that there wouldn't be any difference between April and May.
I'd say your biggest difference is gonna be lamb performance, because you'll get those lambs a better start while it's cooler before you hit all your summer months.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, we wouldn't have any, I mean, the best practice is
Correct, Ron.
Right.
Yes, I was talking about May landing a little, just a little bit, but we talked in the past a little bit, outside the pasture land, playground.
Yeah, we would
It
be
could be a
flexible.
stew,
Yeah, we
because
don't-
we've got a lot of stuff going on, I mean, as a mom or whoever's watching or whatever, but it gets pretty warm down here during May, and, you know, there's a,
April,
But,
May.
I mean, we could actually, there's some times, considering you, if you had some shelter available, either whatever that tree is, or bush, or whatever that may be, that we could get away with lambing in March.
Yeah, of course,
Latter
our
part.
opinion was the 28th month.
I mean,
Right.
and that's the thing, you know.
But you'd have to be able to get 'em
we never sheared
inside.
sheep where we can't, you know, at home before Easter. Well, one year Easter fell pretty late into, April, and everybody started kind of getting a little antsy, and we went ahead and sheared, and there was a snowstorm.
Have you ever heard Deb's dad's comment? Never owned any more sheep than you have building the pool.
Well, and that kind of goes back to what Kreg was saying, you know, we talked about this in sheep production and stuff, and talk about how input and things are, but at the same time,